What up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. It's Safe here. Welcome back, Safe's podcast. So today we're gonna be talking about Roufusport, the one and only. Great place. Have a lot of good things to say about that place, but a lot of things I want to talk about. But to get started, I do want to let you guys know I was planning on having a guest, but that kind of fell through. So I apologize for all my viewers, but we'll still have a good time. So don't worry. But yeah, so for a lot of you guys aren't gonna know what Rufus Sport is, but I actually came from a wrestling background back in high school, and there's not really any professional wrestling, other than WWE, but that's not really wrestling. It's not really real. So most wrestlers will really get into MMA for their professional sport. So I really had an interest in MMA, ever since I was in high school, and there's a lot of good things to say about it. The first thing I want to talk about is who Rufus Sport is and what they are. They're actually a Milwaukee based fight team here, and they're actually one of the best in the country. Um, they do a lot of good things. They have a lot of great fighters, a lot of fighters that you guys probably actually know about. One being Anthony Pettis, the man. He actually just got booked to fight Nate Diaz. Huge, huge, huge fight, which I will talk about later in the podcast. But where they're actually located in Milwaukee. They're on 76th and Blue Mound. I don't know if you guys know where that is, but I actually work close to there, so I'm actually able to go there quite a bit. They held classes there for people who aren't, professional fighters too. They have a really big jiu-jitsu program, really big striking program. Just they have a lot of people get in there just to even feel good about themselves, feel like maybe want to feel better about self-defense. They have a lot of great things there that people like to do, and I really recommend it for anybody who is trying to go and just even try to get in shape. It's a really good place. Maybe something out of the norm. A lot of people don't think jiu-jitsu or striking will be something that they like until they start it. I just recently started doing some jiu-jitsu, and I love the feeling again back on the mat rolling around. It's really great. I really recommend it for a lot of people. But yeah, Rufus Sport actually started back in 2008 by Duke Rufus. All right, I'm sorry, 2011. My apologies. But it got started by Mr. Duke Rufus. He was a professional kickboxer. He was really good, world champion, really good kickboxer. Never really a professional MMA fighter, but he was a kickboxer. But also on his coaching staff, so one of his head coaches, Wanderlei Silva, he's a beast. Oh my god, multiple time world jiu-jitsu champion. He's the man to go to if you have any jiu-jitsu problems or any questions, because he's a beast. So I mentioned earlier before I was planning on having a guest, but that kind of fell through. But I'm still gonna talk about what the guest actually told me, because I have been able to actually ask him these questions in the past and kind of get his insight on it, because he's one of my best friends. His name's Jordan Newman. So let me give you guys the insight on Jordan Newman, because everyone is going to know about Jordan Newman. Give it 5, 10 years, but I'm telling you, he's going to be one of the biggest names in MMA. Jordan Newman is a two-time national champion from the University of Wisconsin Whitewater. He trains under Ben Askren. He trains under Rufus Sport. And for those of you who don't know who Ben Askren is, Ben Askren is a beast. Anybody in the MMA world knows how great he is. But Jordan Newman is the next best thing. I'm telling you guys, like yesterday, for example, I'll tell you guys a personal story right now. Yesterday, I was at Rufus Sport with him, actually. He took me to my second jiu-jitsu class. I wanted to go train some jiu-jitsu. And ESPN was actually there doing a story on Tyron Woodley, who I will talk about later in the podcast as well. But they're doing a story on Tyron Woodley, and it was late at night, and Jordan was like the only other fighter there. But they needed everybody to clear out, because they needed the time for their star person to get the story on. But the head guy from not the head guy from UFC ESPN, but he's like the ESPN guy for the UFC. Like, he pretty much does all the videotaping, all this stuff, for that. And he sees Jordan training, and I'm telling you, if you see Jordan, he looks like a monster. He just looks like another beast. Okay, like he's crazy huge. Never is out of shape. Never had not a six pack. Like he's always ripped. And this dude's just doing his his pad work, getting some extra time in on punches, being up the bags, And the ESPN guy comes over, he's like, "Oh, who are you?" And these kind of guys never ask who are you to these guys, because a lot of fighters, I'm gonna be honest, this isn't a profession to get into. Like, if you're not gonna be anything good, don't get into it, because it's not worth it. There's so many wannabe fighters who have no money, who have to go through so much stuff just to even like make ends meet. So these high end ESPN guys know that, and they're not just talking to anybody. And they ask him, "Who are you?" Like everybody. He's telling me everybody goes around and asks, "Who is him? Who are you?" And even Duke Rufus, the man. Duke Rufus never calls fighters in to the gym. He's never like, "Oh, come train." That's never what he does. But he called Jordan right after his senior season at Whitewater and was like, "Hey, Jordan, I want you to come in and train here at Roufusport." And you're not gonna say no to Duke Rufus. He's one of the best coaches in the whole MMA world. So he obviously came in, started training, and he knows from day one that Jordan's gonna be a stud. Like, I'm telling you, I'm not just saying this because he's one of my best friends, but Jordan's a beast, guys. And you'll soon hear about him if you don't. He's gonna be a big star. But yeah. So anyway, back to my story. Yeah. So he asked who he was, and nobody ever does that. So that's just a little reference to show how big of a deal he really is. But let me move on to so anyway, into the meat of the story. Yeah, so I wanted to ask Jordan a couple questions about what makes Roufusport so great, and he broke it down to me in a couple ways. Um, First of all, Roufusport has a culture about it that is just kind of like not in many other gyms. Not in a bad way, but it's kind of the truth on how it works. Duke Rufus and how he sees it is, if you're not there just to have fun. If you're in the fight business, it's because you're there to make money. Like, the fight business isn't something for fun. You're getting punched in the face every single day to make money. That's all you're there for. You need to make money. And if you're not, and if you make money and you're made money, then it's time to think about it and think maybe you're done, because fighting is not just a sport for fun. That's you're going in there to die. And people who don't go in there thinking they're gonna die, you can see it, that they don't have the success like a lot of these people do. Like, I'm telling you, Jordan told me he goes into every fight preparing to kill the other guy, to kill him. And or not just to kill him, he's prepared to die. That's crazy to me. Like, you don't go, never do you go into work thinking, "Okay, I'm prepared to die today at work." But a lot of these fighters go in there thinking, "I'm prepared to die." Like, Jordan told me that's the culture it is at Roufusport. Like, they know that they're not just there for fun and games. They know they're there because they have to be there. So I asked him, I was like, "So what do you think about all these punches to the face and like how it affects your longevity?" Because when I actually looked into an article from MMAfighting.org, they said that there's an average of like there's an average of 32 punches to the face in across in the lower weight divisions, and then in the higher weight division it's like 21 punches to the face per round. And he said that that just shows, the numbers show it to yourself. Like, you don't want to be in there getting punched. Like, fighting is not a fun sport. Like, you're there because you have to be there. He emphasized it to me so much that if you're not there to make money, then why are you there? He said that there's so many people, like in the gym he even sees, that are wannabe fighters. Like, they want to be a fighter so bad, and that they have nothing else to do now. And they get caught up in it for so long, let's say 10 years, and they finally, unless you're getting signed by big money people, you're not doing anything with your time there. And he told me that. He's like, "It's not worth it unless you're getting paid. Really, just stop and go do something else, because it's not worth it." Like, obviously, I'm not going to disclose how much he's making, because that's not my job. But he's making pretty good money just right out the gate, and most people don't do that. Like, they're not making that kind of good money right there. But I also asked him what makes Roufusport so much better than a lot of these clubs. He said that a big part of it is because of that mentality. Like, if you're not thinking that way, you're not going to have success. And the thing is, Duke Rufus even keeps that. Like, he won't show favorites. He won't do anything. But he knows if you're a money-making fighter, he's going to gravitate towards you because he wants money. And a lot of these people are getting jealous. So they're even working harder. So I think he told me a big thing of it is like, you have to prove your worth, and that's a big part, you know? So a lot of these fighters are having to prove their worth, showing that they're the best, you know? Like, look at a lot of these lower end fighters at Roufusport don't stay there long because they're just not cracked up to be there, you know? But there is a business, you know? If you can do it and make money, you know, that's the only time you should be in the sport. Other than that, there's no reason to stay in it because it's just not worth your longevity of being a human and having to go through that. I was also able to ask him when his next fight is. You know, obviously, I know this a lot. I talked to him a lot about this. He just had his first professional debut in Bellator, the second biggest fight organization, who also puts on some big money fights. You know, if you're an MMA fan, you'll know them for sure. But he just had his professional debut in March. So he's actually just, you know, he's just always ready for his next fight. You know, he just waits for them to call him. But he's waiting. He still doesn't have a fight booked. But he said he's going to be fighting pretty soon, before the summer ends for sure. So for all you fans who don't know of him, you know, want to get into it, I definitely recommend, you know, looking into him. His name's Jordan Newman. You can find him on Instagram at NewmanJ06. Definitely go check him out. But yeah, so now I kind of want to talk about the current events in MMA. For Roufusport, right now at Roufusport, their two biggest fighters by far, Anthony Pettis and Tyron Woodley. They're having some huge fights right now. Tyron Woodley, former champion, just lost his belt, unfortunately. Really sad thing to see. But he's going to come back, beat ruthless Robbie Lawler, make his comeback win, try to get that belt back. But that's a huge fight. He's fighting on June 11th. So everybody should go check that out. ESPN Plus. And then Anthony Pettis with probably the biggest biggest upcoming fight that has been announced in a while. Anthony Pettis versus Nate Diaz. That's a huge fight, guys. Nate Diaz's last fight was against Conor McGregor. If everybody knows who Conor McGregor is, everybody knows who Nate Diaz is. Anybody who knows sports, anybody who knows anything about the UFC knows who Nate Diaz is, and this is a huge fight, guys. So excited. It just got booked for UFC 241, I believe, August 17th in Anaheim. It's going to be a crazy fight. Oh my God, I'm so excited for that fight. Yeah, I'm so excited, guys. There's a lot of good things coming out from Roufusport. A lot of big names are coming out. You should definitely check them out on Instagram, Roufusport. Check out their website. Like I said, they hold classes for so many people. So you definitely just even go check it out. Like, go check the facilities out. You never know. You might like it. You might end up, wanting to try some jiu-jitsu or try fighting. You never know. Just for fun. Like, I'm not saying don't get into fighting if you're only trying to make money. Maybe, just do a couple try to do an amateur fight. Just have fun with it. At the end of the day, that's all for fun, except if you're a professional fighter, if that's your living. But yeah, I really had fun with you guys today. I really want to thank Jordan Newman for, telling me all I needed to know. Good luck to him in his next fight. Thank you guys for listening. This was Safe Podcast. I really enjoyed talking to you guys. Hope to see you guys again. Thanks. See you later.